In this procedure for the birth of a Nephilim, which later became known as the Immaculate Conception, it is important to understand the steps involved to ensure the safety of both the mother and father. The process begins with the father, who is of angelic origins, and the mother, who is a mortal woman. Using the light of angelic grace, the father extends his wingtip into the mortal woman's womb, substituting the spark of life and fertilization caused by human conception. It is crucial to remove the wing carefully, without disturbing the cellular membranes of the womb. Intercourse is not necessary, and the wing can be inserted directly through the navel. It is also important to consider astrological alignments during conception, as this will have significance later on. Conceiving during lunar and solar eclipses, especially during a planetary alignment, can enhance the attributes of the child. Each planet represents a fundamental dominion of creation, and the child will be attuned as a guardian with an empathic connection to the corresponding aspect. This connection allows the child to know when that aspect falls out of balance and empowers them to realign it. The next step occurs approximately 3 weeks after conception. During the crescent phase of the moon, a gemstone aligned with the conception is used during this phase. Placing the gemstone over the navel, the father uses his angelic voice and focuses his angelic light through the gemstone to connect with the developing fetus. This light is an extension of the father, and he bridges a connection to guide the child towards awakening. The father projects calming and soothing thoughts into the gemstone, nurturing the child's developing angelic consciousness. At the same time, the father creates an encasing around the womb, using the light from the conception fused with his angelic energy. The refractions of light reflecting through the gemstone contribute to this process. It is important not to make the mirrored shell around the womb too dense, as the light within the womb needs to absorb the energy and fuse into a living conscious angelic being within the flesh of man. The child may experience a frantic awakening in this environment, and the father's role is to calm the child's consciousness and prevent premature attempts to exit the womb. The father must empathically connect with the child and perform this calming procedure whenever the child begins to kick. It is crucial to follow these instructions precisely, as any deviations may result in harm to the mother. The last stage occurs during the final phase before birth. The father repeats the same method used after the 3-week period, but this time leaves the shell he molds through the energy of the gemstone in place around the womb. When the mother goes into labor, the father must be present to guide the child into the proper position for delivery through the birth canal. Throughout the pregnancy, the angelic being within the child will be awake and aware, learning about its angelic abilities. The father must teach the child about being an angel, maintaining angelic balance, and developing self-supporting traits. The child absorbs vast amounts of knowledge, even within the womb. However, it is important for the father to remain vigilant, as the child may unknowingly cause problems due to a lack of full control over their abilities. It is essential to watch for signs of the angelic child wandering and learning outside of the natural design. Some cataclysmic paradoxes may occur until the child learns to control themselves. Once the child has emerged from the birth canal, the father takes all the energy within the mold-like outer layer and guides the child to draw it into themselves, leaving a hollow casing. The father must breach this casing through the gemstone and then focus on beckoning the light born within the child to emerge within the boundaries of their mortal body. This process sets the angel into place within the child's frame. However, the journey does not end here. During the first year after birth, the father must provide energy to the child. Converting excess solar energy into consumable energy is ideal. The child does not require much solar energy, and if they do not feed from a renewable source, they will seek out alternative energy sources, such as the souls of those around them or the sun itself. It is important to teach the child early on not to consume the life force of others to avoid negative consequences. After the first year, the child should have a sufficient understanding of energy to create their own self-supporting food supply and will no longer require solar-converted energy. Self-generated centrifugal fusion is the best source of energy. However, it is crucial to remember that the energy levels present on the night of the child's conception are necessary to sustain them during the fetal stage and after birth. So let's compile the information I have gathered so far. The compiled story goes like this. God returns from his 7th day of rest, where he transitions out of the physical and into his intangible state and looks over what he has created. He returns and calls Lucifer to return to the citadel on earth. Lucifer walks into the main court to see God flustered over something he's viewing on this miniature replication of creation that is similar to what Zeus used in Olympus. A miniature Earth he couldn't interact through, but he could view any point in existence he chose. Lucifer and God get into an argument over the children they had with the mortal women. After a heated argument, God commands Lucifer to gather the fathers and send them out to hunt down and slay their own children, branding them abominations and a threat to existence. Lucifer, compelled by his angelic nature, relinquishes his authority in heaven, stating he cannot align himself with the murderers of the innocent. Lucifer is run through from behind and falls dead upon the citadel floor. His attacker then moves to kill God as he shoots threats and insults of him being an unclean thing, and that whoever this was, their place would no longer be found in heaven. Now here is my problem with this. How is it that God, my Maker, who has been present in creation as long as I had since before the beginning, had faced countless dangers journeying outside of Eden, where time did not rush by as fast as it did inside the garden, and there were dangers such as the dinosaurs and the predatorial early stages of life on this world. Quick explanation. Eden was the design floor of the project called Earth. What God created in the garden were just templates that he would seed into the world that would evolve over large spans of time. A day in Eden could be millions of years outside of Eden. That is why Adam and Eve were said to have lived so long. Once they were cast out of Eden, the elongated frame of time and age ended too, as well as the outline of their creation. If Adam and Eve hadn't transgressed against God's command and followed the path he had designed them to, then they could have remained in Eden and turned to thorn bushes with the rest of the garden. But they proved themselves to have evolved into living creatures capable of self-awareness, so they couldn't be cast into the bucket with the rest of Eden. Now God left the garden before it was finished, which means he had to deal with the still evolving life of the primordial earth. They didn't kill him or bring him any actual harm. So how could a being like this be killed in such a manner? One who transitioned in and out of the physical world as he chose. As far as I can tell, that is when God came up missing. After that, putting together the stories, a false god emerged, vengeful, spiteful, and a jealous God who sent the angels out to hunt down the children and their fathers. The humans felt the same thing Lucifer had felt and sided with the angels and their children, offering them shelter and safety, getting themselves killed for helping them in the process. They learned of God's plan to flood the earth, and in desperation, they rose up in rebellion against God, and the first war in heaven broke out. Then, to end the rebellion, before it got out of hand, God flooded the earth, taking all of them out in one move. Placing his mercy upon the character from Noah's tale, he would use them and all that was on the boat with him to remake life on earth. But that was not the end. Before the flood waters washed them all away, the children had gotten together and combined their abilities to create not only the means of their revenge, but a means to survive as well. Through the Leviathan, the beast basically, they fused the aspects of both God and Lucifer into a vessel of revenge. Tiamat, the dragon. Apart from listing the creation of the first archon, the dragon, it also lists that through the dragon they would receive the power to transition themselves into an eon state or angelic state. So after the flood ended, the first war, Azazel and Samael were still free, as well as a handful of the children, thanks to their last-minute plan. There was a second war. The flood had not killed the children, as God had planned, and a desperate bloody battle unfolded during the time the flood waters had covered the earth. It seems that at this time brother took up sword against brother, and angels slew other angels. Michael and Gabriel were sent out to hunt down the children and take Azazel and Samael prisoner. So that's what I saw when the rebel angels were given their judgment and sentenced to their dominions to wander the earth. But hold on, the one who was given the ability to mask themselves from God, their vessel of revenge. Maybe I read it wrong, because this would make sense. It wasn't to mask him from God's ability to sense, but to illusion them into believing he was God. Damn it, Samyaza. He betrayed them and carried out God's plans, deceiving them as God. He then sent out the angels and hunted them down. Unless it was like I said, Samyaza thought he had killed God, but instead God took possession of Samyaza and used him to carry out his plan, then cast Samyaza down as Satan into the place of punishment, along with the other warlords. But no, that doesn't fit the rhyme scheme, because the Demiurge still sits as God over the earth, and has ever since this war. He built the religion of the church and its practices to be the way they are, to support his limbo existence and maintain his dominance over the earth. Damn it, I had it all lined up and figured out now. I've been confused and can't make clear how it went. Oh well, I know you're watching, you spoiled little brat. I wasn't judging you. I only sought to piece together the truth. Like I haven't had enough conflicts on my plate lately. You think I'm looking for a reason to pick another battle. Right. If you think that, then I'll sell you prime real estate inside the Vatican City limits. Well, I guess that's it for now. Tune in next time when Dennis the Goat Boy Menace decides to get over himself and allows us to finish this story truthfully, or he can continue to live his existence surrounded by a fake past everywhere he turns, because no one knows anything that is true. Just a fake past with a bunch of fake legends with fake names and even a fake headstone to mark his fake death. Now we can say we have something in common. We both are famous legends built of false story tales of a big bad boogeyman. Only difference is you chose your boogeyman story, while I got mine shoved down my throat by everyone else around me. You at Chan's Raw. That's right, I just called you a bitch in your own 300 million year old tongue.